Hi, hello, and welcome to Mess to Mastery. This is a special series called Hero Next Door. When looking for inspiration, we often think of the Elon Musks, the Indra Nui, and variety of people who we haven't necessarily met. We also find that at times we are not able to relate to them. What then happens is while we think they are inspiring to us, we don't necessarily jump into action as a result of that inspiration. Now, through Hero Next Door, I wanted to showcase some heroes who are not as popular as others, but they have incredible story that a lot of us can relate to and find that much needed inspiration and the kick to go and take action in our own lives. Now, these people will share their journey and how they became successful and how they grew. Success and growth, remember, is subjective. Each one can have their definition of that. And that's what we will look at. They will also share their story of pain and happiness and joy. We are whole, and I want to bring a wholesome experience through this series. I look forward to the beautiful conversations that are going to come about. Keep watching. Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Hero Next Door on Mess to Mastery. Today we have a very special guest, and I'm not saying that just because she's my mother. She is indeed special because she comes from one of the professions that creates other professions. She is a retired teacher, a teacher with 32 plus years service. And what is really incredible about her career, her journey as a teacher, as a person that studied in the very same school that she worked in, I observed this, which is why I wanted her as a guest in my series, is that she gives unconditional love to her students. Now, for a long time, I didn't know that that was even possible. How could someone unconditionally love other children? But she showed that it is possible. And I've noticed how it has always been reciprocated as well. Until date, her students meet her, they keep in touch with her, they invite her to any milestones that they have in their lives, whether it's wedding or childbirth and so on. So I wanted to get a glimpse of what it is like to be a teacher. I must mention she is now retired and is an active vlogger, YouTuber, very active on social media, is still teaching, but not social sciences anymore, spirituality. Now let's welcome Mrs. Malati Sampath Kumar to Hero Next Door.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
How do you feel being here?
Yeah, I'm so happy, and I'm so, all the more glad to be interviewed by my daughter.
Right. So let's dive in and go maybe really into the past, right? Can you take us back to your early days as a teacher? What were some of the emotions you experienced when you first started as a teacher?
On the first day, I was so excited and with the mixed feelings at the thought of being surrounded by children. I felt positive since I had children of the same age group. On the other hand, I was slightly restless knowing that handling kids is a big challenge. So I entered the club with mixed feelings.
So you said you had mixed emotions. You had fear and you had excitement at the same time. So how did you overcome the fear and go through with this? I think this will help several others who are held up by their fear.
I was focusing on children's future and I was more excited rather than feeling nervous or fear. So what happened? Slowly my fear completely gone. So every day was a big challenge for me. So I concentrated on how to bring these children up. There is a saying in Tamil, எந்த குழந்தையும் மண்ணில் பிறக்கில் நல்ல குழந்தைதான். So every child is a good child. So I was thinking on what are the methods to bring them up in a better way. So every day to be better day for every one of us. So that was my focus.
I think that's brilliant. You build such beautiful relationships with your students. What do you believe was key to connecting with them at a deeper level?
I look at the children beyond their behavior. For a teacher, it is very important to pay attention to the children. So I used to listen to them. I love my profession. I love my students. So that helped me a lot. So at first I listened to them, and giving ear to them is very, very important aspect of a teacher. So that maybe I got it by nature itself. So I listen to them, understand their problems, and devote more time to them. I engage myself in more conversations with the children, whether the child has a problem or not. But it is good for a teacher to have good conversation with all the children, to identify, to find out whether they are happy in my presence, whether they are happy in my class. So that is what I did. So I used to have I am a good listener. That is very, that aspect helped me to come out successfully in this profession. So listening to them helped me a lot.
So for the benefit of the listeners of our podcast, connecting this to what I often talk about, which is getting curious and being present. I think that's what Mrs. Malti is talking about here, where instead of being dismissive of children who were poorly behaved or any story they might have, she engaged in conversations with them with curiosity to find out more and deeply listened to them with full presence. I think that's beautiful. Imagine if more of us did that, and more of the teachers especially did that. I know I see a lot of children who are quite disappointed with how they are not really listened to, especially at school. So I think this is a powerful lesson, something that we can all work towards. Right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So what techniques or methods did you use to encourage children who were struggling academically or emotionally?
Yeah. I believe in one-to-one teaching because each child has a different learning mechanism. So first, I identified the problems the child is facing, especially in understanding the lessons or recalling the answers and writing the answer, presenting the answers in the exam. So identifying their problems is very, very important. That is what I do one-to-one teaching. And I take extra classes after the school hours. If the child feels that is not sufficient, I invite them to my house for giving more support to the child. I offer them food because that makes them feel physically and mentally comfortable in my place. Then I start helping them in applying various methods to bring up the child. So this is my way of teaching children, and they feel very comfortable with me. So that is very important, to pay attention on academics. So in this way, I was very successful in bringing the children up. They scored very well. The basic reason is I devoted more time towards my children because I love my profession. I love my students. So these are all very important for a teacher to devote more time towards the children. Talking about emotional support, one of my students, a girl student, lost her father just before her exams. She was good at academics, but the death of her father disturbed her a lot. So she got disinterested in academics. So her interest was in different direction and she fell in a wrong company also. Her close friends discussed this. They shared their concerns with me. Then I called the mother and talked to her. All this were done without the knowledge of the child. And as a team, the friends, myself, and the mother, we worked and brought her brought her up and we helped her to build resilience. And she did very well in her exams. So she is a teacher now. She's doing very successfully. So that makes me feel all the more happy that in some way my profession contributed for the success of her life.
I think that's an incredible story. If you look at it, our children spend most of their waking hours at school with their teachers, and it is important for teachers to engage with the parents, especially during difficult times, to help children build that resilience. It is a teamwork, and what Mrs. Malti has just shared is an incredible example of that. Thank you. The next, we're going to talk about how you handled challenging moments when students were unresponsive or difficult to engage. What advice would you give to new teachers in similar situations?
Yeah. It's very important for a teacher to be well equipped with educational qualifications along with modern technology. But is it enough? No. Because we are handling very tender age kids. And there's a big responsibility on us to bring them up not only academically and to develop them into good human beings. So patience and wisdom are very, very important for a teacher to make a successful student.
Is there an example of a behaviorally challenged child that you perhaps helped? Could you share that?
Yeah. Once there was a student, a boy student, who was doing fairly well in academics, but he had behavior problem. And the school was arranging for a trekking camp for all the students. But this child was denied to participate in the trekking camp because of his behavior, because this attitude. So the head of the institution told me that I should not take this child for the trekking camp. I was in charge of that program. And I thought if the child was given the opportunity to take part in the trekking camp, there would be changes in his behavior. Because academically, we can make any child successful. That is not a big challenge for a teacher. But bringing up changes in their attitude, in their behavior is real challenge for a teacher. So I assured my principal that the child has to be, child will show definitely some improvement in his behavior. So I will take the child along with me. So the principal agreed for that. I took him and I did more of conversations with him. Whenever I got opportunities with him, so that was, I made use of that time to talk to him more and talk to him about the behavior. He realized that 3 days brought change in his life. He realized that after he came back from the camp, everyone said there were changes in his behavior. So with the changes in behavior, he could concentrate more because he was praised by everyone. So that was an encouragement for the child to show more focus on academics. So you could do more better in academics too. So that was a big success for him as well as for me. Now he is doing very well in a public sector. So he is qualified highly and doing well in his life too.
I think that's a beautiful and really moving story. And what jumps out there is the incredible faith that you had in you and in the child, and your approach to helping these children out. It is easy to say that children with behavior problems are not allowed on these things, but it can be life changing, especially when a caregiver follows them in a journey outside, the normal setting of school or home, which is why holidays help. Parents tend to bond better with the children because they're not in their normal setting. And that seems to have happened in this case as well, where you have taken the child outside the normal setting, and that has helped the child rapidly understand what has been going on, and some shift has happened in the child, and resultant behavior improvement has been seen by everyone. I think that's a beautiful story. Now let's talk about some of the challenges of being a teacher. So teaching can be physically and mentally exhausting. How did you manage to look after yourself through the years? And were there specific practices or routines that you followed? What would you advise to others?
I never got exhausted mentally. Of course, physically, sometimes it can be very tiring, but I have a good family which supported me a lot. So they take me out during the weekends, which help me to recharge myself. And along with that, I take part in many activities. So whatever competitions organized for the teachers, I take part in that. So these are the various activities in which I get involved help me to energize myself. So I never felt exhausted. Even physical exhaustion also can be recharged.
So what I'm hearing there is the importance of not just focusing on what you do for a living, as in teaching, but making sure that you stay sharp and there is some time for yourself, and roping in the support system, whether it is your family, your friends, roping them in to enable you to recoup after the exhausting week. Right. So can you now share some experiences where a student or a class surprised you with their growth or progress? What did that teach you as an educator?
Do you want me to say academically or
Either way is fine.
Academically, of course, every year I witness their marks in the board exams. So they did so well and brought a good name for the teacher, for me, of course. And behavior, their quality wise, when I lost my husband, they stood by me until my son arrived. So that was a very emotional period for me. They were around me. They took care of me. They gave me medicines. They gave me food. So the children who were boisterous in the class also turned to be so kind and compassion towards the teacher. I felt proud and happy to see them show their concern for another human being. So I can never forget that particular incident in my life. It was their support, their emotional support I could withstand for till my son arrived. So the teacher not only helps the child to grow academically, it is the role of a teacher to bring up a good human being. That is what I learned from that. So it is very important for a teacher to make good citizens, make good human beings. So because most of the time they are spending with us, what they see in me only, they are absorbing. So a teacher has to be very positive. The teacher has to be very compassionate. The teacher has to be very loving and very helpful. So that moment I saw, okay, and they told me also, what we saw in you, we are giving back to you now. What you gave me, we are giving back to you, ma'am. So this is what they said at that time. So that is very unforgettable moment in my life.
I think that's absolutely beautiful, and I remember distinctly when my father passed away. There was a snowstorm in the UK, and I couldn't travel with my young child, and my brother was also stuck here with no flights. So she was alone with um, the remains of my father, and after that as well. So during the challenging time, it was not just the students' parents also rallied. They came in and showed their support, and that to me is absolutely incredible. It's not that the parents show up at school every day and have a bond with the teacher. It is more through the students that they have, and that shows the depth of the relationship that had been built between this teacher and those students. I think that's incredible, and credit has to be given to those parents as well. And I would also like to thank the batch. Do you want to mention which batch that was? I think that was class 10,
2010, 10R,
10R
10R
students.
students and parents. Of course, I should have mentioned the parents.
All of you who know about 10R and with school and all that, you will know who you are. Right. So, what would you say is the most important form of support that teachers need to thrive in their profession?
They need support from the school management, from the parents too, because it is like a triangle: parents, teachers, and the school management. So three of them should work together. Only then you build a successful student, or you build a successful institution. So our concern is more for students. So three of them should work together. So it is the collaboration between the teachers, parents, and the school management. There should be a good understanding between them, and there should be a mutual belief, or there should be mutual faith in others. So without faith, it is not possible. So school should believe the teacher that she is working for the good of the child. The parents also should believe the teacher. So it is there should be a good relationship among the three. Only then everything would turn to be successful. Because we are handling the life of a child. So it should be handled with care. So
Again,
good
that's a
understanding.
really important point. It shows how seriously you took the responsibility. It's not just a child walking into the school and walking out of the school, but teachers are a big part of a very, very important period of a human being. At the student age, like up until 18, 20, such a beautiful formative age, and they must be surrounded by people that genuinely care for them. And from what you've been explaining, that's precisely what you did, and it's no surprise that you had that sort of a successful profession, success as a teacher. How do you think the role of teachers has changed over the years? Because even when you talked about parents being supportive, I know from my teacher friends here that these days parents are really wary of pushing their kids, and they would rather the teachers also don't push. It's okay if if she doesn't do this, it's okay. They just want them to be very chilled and not necessarily take effort, take initiative. So things have changed quite a bit. So how do you think the role of teachers has changed, especially with the technology coming in? What would you say about that?
There should be a trust on teacher. So with the development of technology, but who are handling the technology? Human beings only. And we are handling the kids of tender age. So modern technology is only to make them academically effective, not the you have to build up a child to be a good citizen. So it is very important for a teacher to have trust in child also. Trust in child, the child also has to have trust in the teacher that whatever the teacher says, it is for the well-being of a child. So that trust has to be, it is like a chain. It should be spread right from school management, teacher, students, and parents. Because when a child makes mistake, if a teacher points out that, there should not be interference from the parents. The parents should understand because the teacher is impartial. She wants all her children to be good only. So that trust has to be there. Without that, we cannot achieve anything in this profession. So there should not be much interference. If teacher is wrong, even that can be thrashed out. That mutual understanding is very important, and the talking is right from the beginning. I have been saying talk to the child, talk to the parent, talk to the management, talk to the co-teachers. So only that frank talking and allotting more time to listen to others, that is very important. So in that way only we can face this, or we can come out of this challenge.
So, in your opinion, as a teacher, what's the most rewarding aspect, and how did you keep sense of that reward alive throughout? Because I know that in the teaching profession, there's no promotion really, unlike in the corporate world. So it is difficult for someone to stay motivated by being a teacher. You started as a teacher, you end as a teacher. That can be quite challenging for humans. How did you reward yourself, or what was the reward?
No, actually, the reward I am enjoying now is wherever I go, the children, my students of 30 plus, 40 plus, wherever I go, they come to me. Sometimes I am unable to recognize them because they have grown up, but they come, whether it is a railway station or airport or foreign country, anywhere they see me, they come running to me. So that is the big reward for me. I really feel nothing equals to that love, that warmth they give now. What we gave when they were with me, now they are returning. So that recognition from the students is precious. That is the most important reward. So, and this profession should not expect, as Bhagavad Gita says, there should not be any expectation. We should do our duty perfectly, honestly. So, if we expect anything, then everything collapses. So, there should not be any expectation. Do your duty honestly, perfectly. So, that should be followed in this profession. There is a reward. Definitely, there is a reward. You cannot expect it in terms of money. It is the love they give us. They never forget us. Only as we grow, only we don't forget the changes, the physical changes make us difficult to recognize them. But they are not like that. They come running to us, and even now the children visit me. If it is wedding, even for their child's Upanayanam or whatever function they have at home, they invite me. And I also make it a point to attend. So I keep in touch with them. So these are joyous moments for me. So I cherish every moment I spend with them.
I think this is a great inspiration for many of us who feel unrecognized, underappreciated, and not being rewarded for our effort in whichever sector we may be in. Teaching inherently, it's an innate part of being a teacher, that the recognition is not like, okay, you become this now, or you get into that grade now, and so on. the recognition is the most humane recognition, as in the love that the children shower right back at the teacher. And it takes a great human to appreciate that and say, yeah, I will keep doing this because that is really worth it. As our last question for today, as you look back on your 32, 33 years of teaching, what legacy do you hope you have left behind with your students? And what do you hope the future teaching looks like?
I hope to be remembered for my smile and kindness, I can say, because maybe that is my nature. But I love my profession first. Only then, no, that only that leads you to love students. That's very important. So I should have. They should remember me with my smile always. For future teachers,
What is your hope for the future of teaching?
it is challenging. Actually, it is very challenging for the teachers, of course, but they have to work with, what shall I say, again, patience and wisdom. So these two are the two things very important for a future teacher. Lots of challenges for the teachers because it is no more considered as a, I can say, noble profession. So there are challenges. It's not easy for a teacher to continue for a long time.
What I'm hearing you say is, even though the challenges are changing, the technology is coming in, but the very basic ingredient for success as a teacher is the very same patience and love that you entered the profession with. So the solution is still the old one, although the problems are new. Because if you don't have that love for your students, if you don't have patience for the students, then there is no chance of success, no chance of breakthrough as a teacher with any of the students. I think that's a beautiful message that you're giving. It still remains very basic, and the simplicity of that is what makes it more powerful and more doable. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up today's session?
Have faith in everyone, have faith in yourself. That's very important to lead a happy life. So be happy always. Don't grumble for even small things. This should be followed right from the young age. So nothing will be difficult if you follow that.
Well, thank you for being with us and sharing about your incredible journey. It's been humbling listening to you. And thank you everyone for watching. I hope to see you again in the next video of Hero Next Door. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you for having me here. Thank you.
Our pleasure.